Hey guys, Jay here. Today this is going to be my final video on my Advent Children Cloud costume. So for those of you who haven't seen the other videos, this will cover kind of a little bit of detail of the costume itself, as well as the main part of this video is going to be the sword. But I'm going to be going over some of the other stuff for those of you who, again, haven't seen the other videos. If you do want to see the other videos, they will be in the top corner. There's a whole playlist for them. It should start right at the top and then go down to this video. So if you want to do that, then do that. But if you've already watched those videos or you just want to see the sword part of the video, then in the description, I'll probably put a timestamp up here or something next to me, but in the description will be the timestamp that you can just click on and it should take you straight to that part of the video where I skip all of this stuff. Also, a little bit of background on why I'm doing this costume, because this is a video about it, I might as well talk about it. I have mentioned it in the other videos, but I'll talk about it here for those of you who don't want to watch that. Just want to get the overall thing from the one video. So in 2012, that was when I very first went to a convention. That was my first convention. It was SoccerCon 2012. It just so happens the first convention of 2022, 10 years later, is the same convention. So this is not only my 10-year SoccerCon anniversary, but my 10-year convention anniversary in general. So I wanted to remake one of the costumes that I did at that convention, since both that convention and the year, the 10-year thing, both line up together. And I picked this one because I only did 3 costumes back then, and that was this one, Marluxia, and Squall. And I'm not doing Squall anymore. I gave that costume to Atlas, and he altered it to be, well, he didn't really alter much of it, but he uses it for the Dissidia version of Squall. And I already redid Marluxia in 2015, so I don't need to redo that one again, though I could, because I have a new organization coat and all that. I just don't want to do that. More my favorite character than Marluxia is, and this is one of my favorite versions of him. And this might actually be my favorite version of him. So I wanted to redo this, not only though because of the convention and 10-year thing, you know, going together so well, but this is the first cosplay I ever did, even before I went to a convention. So I did 2 costumes before I went to my first convention. I did one on a Halloween party 2 days before Halloween at my work at the time, and that was Cloud in the Advent Children form. I have a picture. And then at Halloween 2 days later, I did my first Sora costume, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. And so I did those 2 as like actual, hey, I'm cosplaying before I went to a convention. So not only do those dates and stuff match up, the 10-year stuff match up with conventions and the convention itself, but it's also my very first costume ever. So yeah, it's got a lot more sentimental value. So we're gonna talk about everything in a little detail, not a lot of detail, so it won't be as long as, say, like a tutorial for one each and then go through all of them. Not doing that. So we're just gonna go over a little bit of details, and then all of the videos will appear in the top corner, but you can also just go to the playlist and just watch them. But if you want to watch any specific video, those will appear too, and everything, all of the videos will be listed in order in the description. Let's start off with the first thing I made. This. Don't know what that's called. Also, you're gonna get better video of this, like close-up and stuff, over what I'm saying. So the little side thingy, whatever this is, it's technically a bag. So you can see in some of the artwork and in the movies that the front of it actually opens up as a bag. So he's a delivery boy in Advent Children for Tifa. He delivers things. It never really says what he delivers, but he delivers. But the point is it's a pocket. So it's like he puts stuff in the pocket. I made this out of hopsack linen, which is the only thing I could find, but it has the right texture actually. Like, as far as the movie looks, it has the right look to it. So I bought that, and it works out really well. It's got the right weight, it fits correctly, like the drape of it fits correctly. But a lot of it wouldn't stay together, so I had to do something specific, which was add a bunch of snaps. So there's a snap there, there's one here, there's actually 2 here, I think. Yeah, there's 2 here. One is to keep it on, and one is to keep it orientated up here like this, so it stays up like that. It doesn't stay up if I don't have that one there. There's also one inside here holding this thing together. It's probably hard to see, so I'll do video of that. Inside the buckles, there's one that holds the thing together so that it doesn't come undone, because it's not an actual buckle. It doesn't have the tongue that goes through the strap. It's just a rectangle with a bar across it. So it would just slide right out. So that's to stop that from happening. And then obviously one is longer than the other because that's how it looks in the movie and all the references. I did not, however, especially on this strap, I should have done it on this one, because this one looks kind of bad, but I didn't do the thing that they have on these straps where it's supposed to be more of a triangle instead of a square. I wasn't able to do that with this. It was bunching up too much and it wouldn't let me sew through it correctly anyway. So I had that problem, so I said screw it and made it squared off. That's the only difference in these straps. And I don't know how they attach on the back because the harness is always in the way in the movie. So anytime you look at the back of him, you don't see how they attach. So I just kind of did whatever. I think I sewed them in place. Yeah, you can I don't know if you can tell, but I sewed them in place on the back because it was just easier that way. And then I did sew the pocket at the halfway point. This is literally the center, and I sewed it all the way around the back and then left it open in the front and then sewed it across where the buckles or the straps overlap it, because it was open too much. So this hides where those seams are, but also you can still make it look like it's open on the other sides. So for the pants, I can't really show you on this camera here, so I do have to do B-roll of that. But I just used work pants that I literally wear for work every day. I was hoping to use a different fabric for the pockets, because he has these pouches on the side. I was hoping to use different fabric than I did. I had to use that linen, the same one that I used on the bag. It doesn't look that good. It doesn't look accurate to what his look like. His look like they're actually the same fabric as the pants. I couldn't do that because I tried to get the same fabric. For some reason, no needle would go through it. I don't know why. So I was screwed at the time and needed to get the video done, so I just did that. I might redo the pants at some point. I did just hand sew these on, so I can seam rip them later if I need to and get them off. So we'll see what happens there, and then I can replace them if I need to. And then I used bias tape for the straps that go around his legs. I didn't realize on the Super Smash Bros version, which is the one you can see really close up on, it's not actually straps going around, it's a seam. It's really weird. I've never seen it before. I think I've seen it kind of in like a khaki or something, like those kind of pants. I'm not doing that, so I'm not making his pants, and I can't find black pants like that that are correct. So I just went ahead and did the strap because it looks nicer, and I think that's more of what the movie version looks like. I think they stylized it a little bit for Super Smash Bros. But it's whatever. And then on the back, I used some buckles, and well, I used a buckle and a ring, a square ring, and then I did that twice, one on the top and one on the bottom for each of the straps. And then the bias tape just goes through and is sewn to the sides of the pants. And then I did the same kind of thing on the front. This isn't what this is supposed to look like, but I can't find the correct things to use. So I took the center bar out of the buckle because I didn't have enough of the square rings, but I had 2 extra buckles, so I called that good and used those. And it looks good enough to me. So it makes it look like his pants are pulled up in the front for some reason. I don't know why they do that, but it just does. But there's also supposed to be like a center bar there that everything goes through, and I can't find the right ones to go through that, so I'm not doing that. This is as close as I'm gonna get. I'm gonna call it good. So moving on to the next part, that was, I believe the armor was next after that. I don't remember which one came next. I don't remember the order of any of this stuff. Oh, the shoes actually came next, but they're down there. It's just, you can go to the tutorial, but it's just leather, or pleather, actually it's vinyl, there was these. So they're just boot covers. So I talk about how to do them, and they actually do zip up. So yeah, they're just boot covers, and it's giving me trouble. So they just fit around the boots, and then there's snaps on the, or clips on the bottom so they can clip together and stay on the shoe. Anyway, moving on to the armor. This is HD foam. which is high density foam from Blick Art Materials by SKS Props. I should have used regular foam for the whole thing because I used that and What the Foam down here. What the Foam was impossible to poke through with the needle. I had to use pliers, and it took around 6 hours just to do, because there's 2 seams here, just to do half of one, or I think one full thing around, something like that. It took 6 hours, when in regular foam, just normal, like from TNT Cosplay or the Yayahan stuff, probably would have only taken like an hour. So I made it a lot harder on myself than I needed to. But it's actually sewn all the way through to make it look like the stitches that he has on his. And then the wolf is 3D printed from my friend, which is who printed these buckles. The buckles down here on the straps, on the side bag thing. So they're both resin printed with a resin 3D printer. And the buckles are out of a flexible resin that, so they don't snap on me when I'm using them. And then the strap I made at the same time that I made these straps for the bag thingy, and I made them the exact same way. So if you want to see how I made those, I even talk about it in the tutorial that I made those at the same time as these. So to see how I made them, you have to watch that tutorial. Or well, it's not a tutorial, but that video. And then this buckle is the same buckle that I used back in 2012. So the armor that I had for that one, I had them put a cloth strap on there because it came with a leather strap with a buckle. And I told them to just use a cloth strap if they could switch it out for me and not give me a buckle. And they did that, and then I sewed this buckle onto it. So they don't exist anymore. That store doesn't exist anymore, so you can't go and buy that one. But it was also like $280 for the whole thing. And it was super accurate and nice. But yeah, they don't exist. You can't buy anything from them anymore. But they were like the best shop out there. But yeah, so that's the armor. You can tell this isn't scripted, huh? So moving on to the shirt. I got the shirt itself on Amazon. It's a ribbed knit sweater. So for the sleeve, this is just the same fabric as the bag thing. In the artwork, in the official artwork and everything, it looks like they're both the same fabric. That's why I did that. And this has a good weight to it, like I said before, so I like the way this works with the rest of the costume. It kind of pulls it all together because they're the same. It makes it feel a little like more complete. And then I obviously put a zipper in it. I had to cut that open and put a zipper in it. That's in the tutorial. And I don't think I did it in the tutorial, but oh, I didn't do it in this one either. I have to add that to this, I think. Oh, maybe I don't. In one of my other shirts, I added a piece of interfacing that goes across the collar to keep it upright, but I don't think I need to do that on this one. I think it might work fine just like it is. Works for me, I'm not going to complain if that works. And then on to the back is the harness. So you might be able to tell this isn't on all the way, but this is just keeping on one part, and I'll get to that in a moment. That didn't get explained in the other video, so this is all new stuff to you guys. So I had to figure out a way to get this to stay on without pins or these whatever these are, clips. So I sewed a buckle onto here. It's really crudely sewn on, but it's the back, nobody cares. So yeah, it just snaps on and off. And then this side also snaps on and off, but I had to remove the snap that was already here because I didn't have the other side to that one. It came with one just on there for decoration, and I couldn't put it on anything because I didn't have the other side of the snap. So I had to use one of my Smashdown ones that I've used before. Ones that I've used in like my other Cloud costumes, if you've ever seen that. When I made the harness pieces and put the armor on it and everything. That I use these same kind of snaps where you put them down with a thing and you hammer them down. And I put the other piece on a piece of nylon here. It's just clipped to the strap. That's because this isn't my body shape exactly. So I know where this is going to go on here because that's obvious. But I don't know where it's going to go on here to fit correctly when it's on me. So at the convention, I'm going to have probably Atlas like hold that up against me while it's on, while I have the shirt and this thing and the armor on, and figure out where it goes, and then I can take it all off and sew it on where it needs to go for real. because I'll have somebody there to help me. I don't really have anyone to help me right now. So, and also this harness is not very good. I think I need to iron some of it. Looks like I can, right there, maybe right here a little bit. It came kind of, you know, folded up like that, so I have to fix that. I just haven't done it yet. But I got this from Easy Cosplay, which is where I got, I get a few other costumes from them. But they made a listing on eBay specifically for me to buy just this. And so this was like 60 bucks, which is actually really good because my other costume, which I can post up, the one that I had from my last costume, that the one I did in 2012, it was much better than this. But that was also like expensive, like really expensive, but it was also 100% accurate, or accurate as you can get, because it only actually attaches up here and goes this way. That's not possible in real life, so there had to be one that goes up here. But it had where it went up like this, and I added one to go to this side to make it accurate to the whatever. But other than that, the rest of it was accurate, like super accurate. I wish I never sold that, but I can't find it again, and so this was the closest I could get. And this is pretty good, to be honest. For 60 bucks, this isn't too bad. That's basically it for the costume. There's not much else. The wig is behind it. I don't know, you can probably see it back there, but I need to kind of restyle it a little bit, but I'll get to that later. So it looks like I forgot to talk about the gloves, so we'll do that right now. So these are just black gloves. I just got them on Amazon. I don't remember where. If I can find where I bought them, I might put them in the description. It doesn't really matter. They're just black gloves. You can just look for black leather gloves. These ones are ones that you can use your phone with, so I can answer the phone. Now you can see the wolf heads here. So these are, there we go. So these are earrings that I cut the backs off of and super glued down. And that's basically it. There's not much to these, they're just gloves. Alright, so now on to the actual part of this video that I meant to make the video about. That was long, but we're talking about the sword now. This might be just about as long. So I'm gonna explain a few things because it'll be confusing if I don't. So first, everything from the hilt, or from the handguard down, the hilt, that I didn't make any of. The blade itself, I made everything, but I had help. So earlier in 2021, like May or something like that, I bought off of somebody a 3D print of, like, I had them 3D printed and whatever. I bought that off of them for like $370 or something, 370 bucks. Turns out it's way too heavy. So this is like foam and cardboard. So this is way lighter. This is like half the weight. But the hilt part, the handguard down, that's all 3D printed. I tried making that out of foam, and while it didn't look that great, it didn't matter because the balance with it right now with the 3D print is roughly here, which isn't that bad. With the foam one, it was like here, which is horrible. That means that this is going to pull down on my hand every time I'm holding it, and that does not feel good. And even if it's over my shoulder, it'll be here, and the weight will be here pulling down, so I'll have to hold it pulling down while it's on my shoulder. Don't want to do that. So I just kept the 3D print, and with the force that it's pulling on from being over here with the foam handle, it was still the exact, it felt like the exact same weight as with the 3D print on here. So it's hard to explain. That's just how sword balancing works. If it's higher up the blade, if the balance is too high up the blade, it'll feel heavier. So even though it's technically heavier with the 3D printed handle, the weight is closer to my hand, which means it's not pulling on me. So it doesn't feel as heavy. It feels about the same weight as if it were pulling on my hand. So, but it's not pulling on my hand. So I would rather do that. So that's what I did. What I had him do was actually, with the 3D print, I had him sand and fill and do all that stuff to get it paint ready. And that's why I paid so much. Honestly, that's really cheap still. But I had him do the entire thing that way. It took him like 6 months almost to finish it. But he finally finished it, sent it out, I got it. Then I realized it was too heavy. Also, so here's the pieces. These came broken. these were supposed to be glued on, and they were not. They were, and you can kind of see, I'll show you better images of all this, but they were glued on, and they just fell right off because they weren't glued on very well. So that sucks. But it's hard to tell, but they're split in half. Both of them were split in half. This one I had the tape on because I was gluing together, but both of them were split in half because they broke in shipping. So I'm not going to try fixing that though, because obviously I have this done now. But the reason that I have this and not the 3D printed sword, which is over there, is because with the 3D printed blade, it is like twice the weight of this entire thing. So having that on here instead makes this almost impossible to pick up. Like, I can pick it up with two hands, but with one hand, I can't. So, like, that's how I'm gonna have to hold it most of the time, because a lot of, like, I'm over my shoulder or something, and that is, like, it digs into my shoulder. Like, it hurts that much to hold it over my shoulder. So, I'm not gonna do that. So this is a lot better. So, on to kind of the making of this, I guess. Other than obviously the hand guard down, because I didn't make that. Also, this actually, I'm not going to do it, but this splits apart so the blade can come out. The blade goes down all the way to wherever it's like a block in here, then a hollow empty space on top. So you probably know what I mean. So that flat area where it stops, the blade goes all the way down into it. And then I can pull it out. And then also, there's a wooden dowel that goes, I don't know how far into the handle, but it goes, I'm assuming all the way down, because it won't break on me. So I'm assuming it goes almost all the way down at least, and then travels up to about the halfway point of the blade. He glued that in. I told him not to, but he did it anyway. So I can't do anything about it. It's Gorilla Glue. There's no way to get that out because it's like all the way down. So I can't get it out. I wanted one that went all the way up. That ain't happening. But in the back, like where this goes, there's actually, in the sword itself, I'm pointing at the sword, there's a hole that goes all the way up that's in the back side, in this back blade here, and it's 1/4 inch for a 1/4 inch rod. And so I used an aluminum rod that I bought at Lowe's, and there's a little hole in the back where you can put that in and glue it into the handle. So I didn't need to do that because this friction fits so well that it's not coming out. It's not coming out. So I don't have to worry about it. I didn't have to glue anything in place. So that works. The metal rod just kind of, I have tape around it so it tightly fits in that hole. And so it's not gonna just rip itself back out by, like, even by moving it. So that'll just keep it a little more sturdy than just the one thing. So, how I actually made the rest of the, like the blade itself. So there's a reason that there's no tutorial video for this, because like my other ones, the ones back there, I made the tutorial for the remake version of the Buster Sword. And then I have another Buster Sword that's made basically the exact same way, just it's not the remake version where it doesn't have those panels on it or whatever. I made those exactly the same way. So I did this how I did those. So it's a one layer of 10mm EVA foam, I believe, and then cardboard on top of that on each side that bevels down into being the blade edge, and then 2mm foam on top of that, and that goes all the way around. And then because I wanted this to look like multiple blades attached to another blade, I used 4mm foam to make these two the front and back blades. So there's two blades in the back and one hollowed blade that slots over the main blade. And so I made those all out of 4mm and just put them all on top. And then on the back, for the back blades, I shouldn't have done this, but I did anyway. I rolled the foam under so it wasn't like, I didn't close the back up to make it a blade. I probably should have. It doesn't look that good, but no one really looks at the back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I also didn't cut the back to make it look like the back of the handles, to make it look like those were two separate handles. Forgot to do that. I'm not going to do it now. And then this middle blade here, and I actually did the same thing with this that I did with the rest of them. I took the 3D print and traced it onto a piece of paper. That way I got the exact size to fit in this handle. That way I didn't have to do any measuring. So So I just did that, and then I made this out of 6mm foam, and then there's a piece of 4mm under it. Then I beveled both sides so that it has like a shadowed area without me having to paint shadows into it. That gives it an actual what it would look like with the blades like that. The bottom piece, the gear, was the hardest part. That was what was stopping me from making this sword years ago. I had to put paper over because they're not separate pieces on the 3D prints. I had to put paper over it and tape it down and do one of those like graphite rub things where you can like get the texture of something and get the outlines of something that has grooves in it. And I had to do that to get the pattern. So it's not perfect, but it's good enough. It's good enough that I'm just gonna call it good and not worry about it. And for the paint job, everything was plasti dipped except for the handle. It was taken out of the handle, obviously. It was all plasti dipped, and then I used gray primer over the top of that. And then on top of that, I just used, it was this darker color. So it's hard to see unless I get you those good videos. There's a line that separates where the darker and lighter colors of silver are. And it actually kind of looks like that in the movie, and in Smash is what I was going off of mostly, because mostly I'm going to be showing up to Smash photo shoots because those are more popular than a Final Fantasy VII photo shoot. And that's the more common version that people are going to like see on Google probably, or probably going to see because they play Smash. So it looks more like that model. But I used this darker center color, this silver color, not this gray, but the silver color, and I went over all of it, and then I taped it off, and then went over it with a lighter silver that I ended up not liking too much. So later on, I came back in the room and took a brush with, I took a small chisel tip brush, which I probably shouldn't have used, but you can't tell really, and I brushed on a regular silver to kind of mute both the colors to make them a little closer to each other so they weren't so far off. And that kind of blended them a little bit, not really, but I didn't want them to blend completely. But so you can still see the line, but they're a little closer than they were. It was really, really off. But it also looks like brush strokes, but I want that. The sword in the movie looks like brushed chrome, like, or not, maybe not chrome, but it has a chrome look to it, but it looks like a brushed metal where it's got like marks going up it that look like it's been brushed down. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but you can see the grain lines going all the way up, like the metal grain lines. It's really weird. So I wanted that to at least show through a little bit, and you can kind of see it, but not really. But there's some places where you can see it. It's not a big deal, but it's whatever. But then while I was doing that, I also was going over the handguard and the handle. So I just went over, this was already paint ready, so I went over the entire thing with that gray primer, the same, so that everything looked the same. And then I used that same darker silver to color the, well, first I used red to cover the handle, and it was like a bell pepper or green, it was like a red bell pepper color or something, is what it said. It was a Krylon, not 100%. It's gone now, so I can't show you, but I did that and then taped it off, and then used the darker silver on the rest of it, and then used clear coat on that and clear coat on all of this. And I still have to do clear coat on the black and the grays because I haven't done that yet. I did those after the clear coat. So I clear coated it after I did the silver brushy thing, and then after that was dry, I came back in and I colored the gear thing as well as inside where the two blades connect over the other blade. It's supposed to technically be the same color as the rest of it. It's all the silver color, but it was kind of blending in. So I wanted to make it a different color so that you could see the difference. So it's a little inaccurate for that reason. Also in the movie, you can see like on that blade where the different pieces are, where because it splits open, you can like see that in the movie. I'm not doing that. I don't really care. But then I colored the black after that, and then dry brushed the back. I made the back blades lighter color black than the blades that are on the side. And I did that specifically so that you can see them in pictures. I didn't want the blacks to bleed together in like a bad quality image. Like if someone took something on their crappy cell phone or something, like if someone had an older cell phone and they want, or something else that they want to take a picture with, or even a bad camera, and that would make it bleed together in a more bad quality. So I wanted it to not look like that even in those pictures, so I made it a little bit different. So it's more of a gray black, like or a faded black, and then I dry brushed the pieces that are on top of the handle that are the grip part of the handle. And honestly, that's really it for the sword. There's not a whole lot to do to this sword. It was built the same way as the other ones and then painted. So honestly, that's it. But yeah, so this is probably my dream sword to make, and I finally got to do it. I've been wanting this sword for, well, ever since I did the very first costume, when I did it at that Halloween one. And that was actually 2011 when I did that one. So this isn't like the 10-year anniversary of this costume, because that would have been last Halloween, or last 2 days before Halloween last year. But the point is ever since then I've wanted to do this sword. I've wanted to make one. I made a cardboard one a long time ago. That was like 2008 when I did that one. And you can tell it's like badly proportioned, whatever. But yeah, and that one actually you can take apart and everything. I made it so that like the front blade was like a hollow thing that could go over the main one. The two back ones can go up together correctly. I even did all that. And I think I even made it so that the gear moved, because I like put like a pin in there or something to make it move, like a paper brad or something. But either way, that one's not very good. This one is now, like, I don't think I have a sword that I want to make more than this one. So I'm glad I finally got to do it. And I'm probably not doing it again, because this was a pain in the butt. But anyway, that's it for my cloud costume, period. At all. There's nothing left. So this will be appearing at SoccerCon 2022, which is obviously why I made it. So if you guys are going to that, there we go. We don't know which day we're doing this, so there are 2 days that we can pick from, Friday or Saturday, because we're not doing that on Sunday. We have to put everything in the car and everything. We're not doing that for a Sunday, and there's like no one there half the time. So Friday or Saturday. It's going to depend on the schedule, because I'm also doing another costume, Reinhardt from ReZero, and I'm doing the light novel version, and I'm meeting his voice actor, who I met at KomoriCon last year, and I told him I was going to meet him as Reinhardt at one of his signings, so it depends on which one I can make it to. So if I can't make it to his Friday one, this will be Friday, but if I can make it to his Friday one, this will be Saturday. So I don't know for sure. I might make a video closer to the convention, where I do my, hey, this is what I'm doing at the convention, blah blah blah, whatever video. I didn't do one for KomoriCon. I don't think people care. So I might do that, I might not. But it will be posted on my Twitter, which you can go to, or probably my Instagram, like right before the convention, so that people can see what I'm doing and what days I'm doing them. So I'll have two different versions, and I'll post whichever one ends up being the one that I go with. So that way, if anyone wants to come see this costume in person, you can. So yeah, follow me on those if you want updates on that. Anyway, sorry this was so long, but it's just how it is when it's unscripted. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.